Welcome back to Tony versus the World. I'm Tony, obviously, and boy, have I got something for you today. This is going to be part 2 of my Senegal series. I actually went to Goree Island, and I want you to check out what I saw. After the video, stick around because we're going to talk about a few things, and I want to see what you guys think. So, without further ado, here we go. So while I was in Dakar, I had to do more than just the African Renaissance Monument. I heard about a place called Goree Island. Everything I read about this island said it was a must-see, particularly something called the Door of No Return. I had to take a short ferry from downtown Dakar to the actual island. The ferry was about 5,000 francs, which is about $8.30, and they charged me another 500 francs, which is about like 80 cents, just like as a tourist tax to come visit the island. The island itself is pretty small, so you can walk end to end pretty quickly. On the south end, there's this big, huge French colonization cannon. Obviously, the cannon's been out of commission for a long time, but one of the shop owners told me that inside of the cannon, he actually has a little shop where you can buy little trinkets and things to take home with you. So as I'm walking around the island, I'm seeing all the things I was reading about. Goree Island is one of the oldest and most heavily used slave trade ports in the entire world. It's said that over 100 million slaves passed through this island, never to return home again. And finally I see it, La Maison des Esclaves, or House of Slaves. It was called that because the original house's owner was so heavily involved in the slave trade, he converted his own house into a slave trading port. The entrance fee was about 500 francs, and you got to see the whole entire house, including where our ancestors were kept once they got ripped from their homes. All the walls, the chains, the bars, everything original in the house, so you can see it just as they saw it then. Hundreds of our people packed these rooms at one time as storage before they got sent off. And then, the Door of No Return. The last thing you saw before you got shipped off to somewhere else in the world. It looks like just a door, but if you can imagine what happened all those years ago through these very walls, you probably think differently. This is the Statue of Liberation, given to Senegal by the French in 2006. And after walking through the whole island, talking with some of the locals, I'm glad I came. I'm glad I saw this. I'm glad I had the experience. Alright, so there it is. Goree Island. You saw it just like I saw it. And I want to see what you guys think. Well, first of all, let's talk about getting to Goree Island. So in downtown Dakar, there is a port where you can catch a ferry. It's not really that expensive. You pay, get your ticket, and you jump on the ferry. The ferry is notoriously late. So yeah, you still want to be on time, but don't worry if you get there a few minutes late. Outside of the gate, there are going to be 1,001 tour guides to try to get you to purchase their services before you even get on the ferry. You don't necessarily need a tour guide, but I understand why some people might want it because obviously they have more knowledge than me. You can also purchase some of the local tour guide services once you get to the island. And again, we're talking about really small amounts of money here. So it's not a big deal if you get one or if you don't get one. Obviously, these people have lived on the island, the ones that are there, and they're going to have a lot more information than you could probably find on the internet. So once you wait for the ferry, then you get on the ferry. It takes about 20 minutes. It's really not that far from the actual island or the actual city of Dakar to the actual island. I think it's only about 3 or 4 miles. So you get there, you get off, and as soon as you get there, there is 5, 10, maybe 20 different places to eat, different types of food, all on the island. Beware, as soon as you get there, the people that live there, they know you're coming. They know what time the ferry gets there every single day, and they want to sell you something. And that's okay, because these people need to make a living too. So I'm just saying this, so beware before you get there. People are going to try to haggle with you and try to get you to buy whatever they're selling and come to their shops. So sometimes they're a little aggressive, and they're obviously respectful, but you just kind of have to say no, or I'll come back and I'll see you later, or whatever have you. So once you get past all of that, you can actually walk around the island and go anywhere you want to go. I recommend going to see the same things that I saw. You can go south of the island first and see the big giant cannon. See the shops along the way there too as well. There's actually a shop inside of the cannon, which I learned later on. You can actually climb down inside of there. And it's a little small claustrophobic shop, but there's a gentleman selling like African paintings and wire molds and stuff that he made himself. Pretty nice stuff, but if you're not into that stuff, then no worries. Everywhere along the island, people are going to be selling roughly the same thing, so you can kind of get to see one shop and you're probably seeing them all. So once you get past all of that, once you get past the cannon, depending on what time the main attraction opens, the House of Slaves, you can walk around and see everything else. There's a lot of French architecture there that you can go see. That's pretty neat. But the majority of it is pretty small island living, so you kind of get the idea of what's there already. Once you get into the House of Slaves, it's kind of overwhelming. You kind of have to put yourself in the mood to see all of these things, and put yourself in the place of the people that were there before you. But once you do, once you force yourself to say, hey, look, I want to see this, go in, take it all in. You can see everything, where everybody lived at, where everybody stayed. The conditions were terrible. I can't even imagine being there during those times. There's no bathrooms. The rooms were small, damp, and dirty. Hundreds of people crowded into those rooms, at a time. It was just insane. Walking around the House of Slaves, there's actually a little small office where I guess the museum curator sits, and he has paintings of actual slave masters selling slaves during the time. He also has in the office ball and chains, where you can see the original iron chains where people were kept in. He has all types of records from, I guess, I wouldn't say not necessarily the names of everybody who passed through there, but that's what it seemed like to me. Mind you, everything was written in a different language, so it was really hard for me to decipher what it was. I'm just thinking what it possibly could be. But the book was huge, and there were a lot is an understatement, a lot of names. So you kind of have to go see this for yourself. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know if any of you guys have been there before. I know there's other doors of return, no return in Africa. I believe there's one in Kenya. Have any of you guys been there? Does it look similar? Let me know what you guys think. And please leave all your comments in the description below. I'm going to leave all of the links for all of the tours, the ferry, how to get there, everything in the description box below. So you can check it out for all the information that you need. In the event you guys have questions for me, obviously Send your questions in the comments, and I'll get right back to you. And thank you for watching Tony versus the World. Please consider subscribing. I look forward to seeing you next time.